Okay, we're ready to put the base molding in, and Eric has came in with this cutting tool. This is a Porter cable one, and cut that down because our new molding wasn't going to meet up with the old molding. We have the corner piece, decorative piece that we bought yesterday at Lowe's and stained to go in so that the new molding will butt up to that, and I'll touch up the paint there where it butts up to it, because when we cut it, some of the other wood is showing. So we've got that butt up, and here the length of these is 8 foot. There's the mitered edge that I cut yesterday, and where the next piece is 8 foot as well, but we only have about 2 foot, 2.5 foot of wall left. So we have this other decorative piece, the one that goes on the wall. It's going to go here, and we're going to tack it on. We're going to tack it on, and then get the exact measurement of our other board from the inner edge of that little piece, and then it's going to be a straight butt cut here on this end. So that'll be the next project, part of the project. Okay, I'm down here for us to work on this, but it's called a little bit fat. That's a little bit off right there. So our molding piece isn't wanting to fit completely flat against there. So we're going to chip a little bit of that off and get it flat before we attach it. And we're going to attach it with my Ryobi gun that I got for Christmas last year. I'll have a link for that if y'all are interested. So he's just using his speed square, carpenter's best tool ever, to just sort of whittle that down and get it flat, so it'll be easier to attach that piece of molding. We'll have to tap that other nail in there.
No, we're going to break it off.
He's going to break it off. We may have to, well, we definitely will have to cut down the little piece of molding that we took off that came around this corner and have it butt up to the other side of this decorative element here. Whoop, it's gone. It's a goner. Now he's checking to make sure it's level. It wasn't, but now it is. On this one.
Alright, I'm gonna put one.
Hey y'all, I'm gonna use his gun since my battery's still not charged yet. And we have the first piece of molding down here. And I'm gonna wanna make sure it's tied up against the wall and tied up against the corner piece that we put in. Hopefully you can see that. And I know that there is a base plate or a sideways 2x4 behind this wall to hold that up, because that's the way walls are made. So I'm going to make sure and get this tight against the wall and tight against that end, and it's bowing. So hopefully my my nail will hold it in from where it's bowing, because I guess it's not straight. These floors are not straight. They were in the building. I can't help it. So I'm going to go, I think this base plate is probably 1.5 inches, maybe?
Yes, it is.
About 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go about 3/4 of an inch up, and that'll let me know I'm going to get it. So there we go. Boom. First one in. Now that's going to hold it for me so that I can move farther. I'm going to go about every 1.5 feet or so and put another one in. Hopefully I can get this bow held in.
Okay.
Woohoo! Somebody needs to say, "You go, girl."
And also, if you're dealing with a wall that's made of metal studs, you can get a finish screw. And you would do the same thing, but you would use the finish screw in metal studs.
And all I'm doing is pushing this. This has a little trigger thing that moves at the, or not a trigger, but the end moves there. And I'm pushing that to where that puts the actual part that dispenses the nail flat up against the board, and then I'm pulling the trigger. And that's all you gotta do.
You get about 2,000 nails per charge on the battery.
Let's hope we're not going to use 2,000 today. Ready to measure to get this last piece, because we want it to be just perfect. So it's going to be butt up against there flat, but here, so I'm going to go there, and here I want to look and see where it's going to meet up with the inside corner of this piece, and that is 31 1/4. So we're going to cut this next piece. It's already got the angle cut, and we're going to cut it off flush at 31 1/4 and pray for all good things to happen. All right, I've got the board here. Here's the miter cut that I made yesterday, and we're getting ready to cut it to fit there. So what I'm going to do is flip it over to the back side, and then that's going to give me the longest part. And we're going to go from here, where's the tape, down the 31 1/4. Let's get it going. And I'm going to make a mark here, long mark, at the 1/4. And that's where we're going to make our cut. The speed square is going to give us our straight edge. It's got a little, this thing is awesome for getting your angles. It's got a little ledge on it here, so I'm going to butt that up against there and get to my pencil mark. And I want my pencil mark to be exact because my eyes aren't exact, so I know we did our best there. I want to be able to see that. Can't see my little dash from before, so I know that's right. So the choices now are to use a circular saw to cut that, or to use, even though we can't use the miter box because it's too small, we could use that saw, which is right here. I have no idea how to do this. Now, I trust this more than I trust my eyes because that looks like it's leaning to me, but I know it's not because this is right.
Okay, so you'll cut that and then we'll
Well, I'm wanting to make sure it's off of my table here, and I've got it's holding it up for me. I don't want it to flip-flop too much. Making sure there's nothing under there that I'm going to get a hold of. And I'm going to hold it down with my left hand, and this board right here is going to hold it up on that side. And I'm going to, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it. Let's try. I want to scar it up all the way over, but I don't think I can do that. Okay, this is not for me. I'm going to have to use the circular saw. Okay, I switched things around here because of me being right-handed. I wanted this to, the smaller piece to be on the right-hand side, and we've got this tablecloth here going over the boards that I have holding it up because I don't want to, I've already stained the other side of this and I don't want to mar that up. But I'm going to change the depth of the blade here, and I want it to be just a little bit farther than the thickness of my piece. So the first thing I want to do is take the battery out because I love these digits, right? And then we pull that up, and here's a little lever. On this one, the way that this works is you turn this little lever and
it locks the plate. And
it locks the plate. So I guess it was already turned the other way. So here's where we're changing the depth. So can you show right here, Eric? This has the blade going all the way to the floor. I'm wanting to pull it up to where it's just going to be just below the line of my piece. Then I'm going to tighten it here on the other side. And it's now ready. So I should be able to take it to this side, and I'm going to have the speed square here. And this is an important part to remember because this has to fit tight in there. We've got our line here. That's the width of the pencil. And the saw I was going to use and got too nervous and shaky for has a very thin blade. I don't know if you can see that, but the thickness of this blade, I'm not going to touch it, well, even though my battery's not in there, the thickness of this blade is more. So we're actually going to cut to the left of this line.
Yeah, and I'm cutting right through here.
Right through there. And we're using the speed square to hold this flat on that side and to get the blade to where it's going to be just to the left of the line.
Okay.
So right there's where the cut would be. Okay, Eric's going to do the cut for us.
And you got to make sure that you leave the line in this kind of...
There we go. Okay, we've got it in here now. Had to kind of bang it in on that side because it was tight, but tight was what we wanted. And so it's perfectly through here. I can touch up that stain or not, but I will. And so it's now tight through here, but if you can notice the difference, I'm not sure if you can see the detail. When we made that cut yesterday, we made sure to check the distance between this decorative elements of the
Trim.
ornamental molding or the trim, and so that looks right. Now I'm going to come through kind of at an angle from this direction, and I'm going to do a couple of nails in here because I want to go out the end of here and into the end of here to hold it together.
Two nails only.
So rather than being straight like I was on the other ones like this, I'm going to go at an angle, and if I come from this side, it's just going to shoot straight that way because that's the same direction as the angle. So when I come through this way, it's going to get them both. Instead of coming at it this way with the gun, coming at it this way to try, there we go, I can engage that safety tip then. Awesome. Awesome.
There you go. Now finish out your base.
Okay, so I'm still going to go just like I did before, about 3/4 of an inch up. And boom. All right, y'all, we're ready to put on the decorative piece here. And because we don't have a ceiling here, this is a staging wall, it's a little bit different. If we had a ceiling, I would be shooting my nails in right through here to go into the ceiling, but I don't. So we're going to go right here. And
come back around.
Right here.
Yep.
And I don't know that they were long enough. Okay, we cut this old molding to butt up to this here. This is going as high as our top plate. This is the old molding that we took off already. And we have this here to butt up with and get our accurate measurements going the other direction. We know there's a stud here on the corner, so I just shot into it from both directions there, and Eric was helping me hold it up ahead of time because I'm afraid of heights, so here you go. If you're afraid to be up on the ladder, you can always use a stick or something like this to hold it into place to where you can get up there and still feel secure. So now we will be back when we're able to cut the pieces going the other direction. I wanted to show you something really quick about how we chose the ornamental moldings. This is gorgeous. This is like a common molding. I think actually this was a tree that went through our sawmill and we did ourselves with a router, or Eric did, not a we, and put a decorative. This was the piece that we just took off as the base, but we still have the top piece, which we had on flat in this instance because we don't have a ceiling. So you have the option of that, but this one we're going to use as a true crown, so I'll be showing you that next. But I did just want to show you the difference between, you can get this at your local home center and get it in most people use like a paint grade. They come already primed and ready for you to paint whatever color you want it, or you can do like we did and stain it and put it up there, and it just shows, you know, hey, you got some molding, and that's a little extra touch compared to no molding at all. And it looked very nice and served our purpose here for many years in this building, just to sort of cap things off. But now we're going with something prettier and more decorative that's really gonna frame off this wall and give it some extra beauty. And we'll show you the difference between laying it up there flat, which we could still do, and crowning it, which, you know, having it come out like a piece of crown, which is going to be a little more difficult in this instance. But if you're building a staging wall like we are and you don't have a ceiling, then you would use the method that we do, you know, the same method that we're about to do. But I just wanted to show you side by side and if I wish I had a piece of the regular, you know, cheap looking paint grade, which still looks beautiful when you put it all up, but not like this. I mean, this is really nice what we've got going on here from Ornamental Moldings. Okay, this is called an inside corner. The other one we just did was the outside corner. This one is going inside the corner of these two walls. So we cut this molding to butt up to it. Our new piece is going to butt up to it. And we have it even with the top plate, which is the top 2x4 in your wall. So your ceiling would be right there where we have this if you were doing this at a home that had a ceiling. But ours is going up to the top plate. Let's see if I can get it in there and get the... Yep. I'm going to go ahead and put one here. Perfect. And if you had a ceiling, you could go up at an angle on each side into your ceiling. And we cut this. I'm just going to touch that up with this paint, and it'll still look beautiful. We've got the crown up here now, and with this decorative part in the rustic series, you can have that going up or down the way that this is made. I like it up so that I can see the pretty part of it. And now I'm looking at this profile on my corner piece, and I want to match that up. And believe you me, I really wanted that paint that I had already done to be under this, but it wouldn't have matched my decorative piece had I not. I'm gonna go with it tilted out in that fashion about, well, I was able to look over the top, to tell you the truth, and see, I don't know, that one didn't go in, and see, I'm gonna go right on it. There we go.
Okay, come to this next one.
And
there you go.
And see where the studs were. But if you have a ceiling up there, this would be touching the top of your ceiling. That's how you would get your angle and then match the bottom of your profile. I'm gonna have to just touch up this paint. But if you are not able to look at your studs in a regular home situation, you would start at your inner corner. Go ahead and get a stud finder. You can get one, takes a 9-volt battery. I'll put you a link for one for like $10. And you move it along and it'll tell you where the studs are. You want to go for the center of the stud. It's called 16 inches on center. Most homes that were built nowadays are going to have a stud, and the center of that stud is going to be 16 inches from the center of the last stud. Some of the really older homes, if you're in an older home, they may be 24-inch centers. So it's smarter than making a bunch of nail holes to just go and spend $10 and get the stud finder. But you definitely want to nail into the stud because it's going to waller out of this drywall later on if you don't. And we're going to continue this all the way down. Putting up the last piece here, I took some pictures of the dead wood that we have behind it. That's the piece of wood that I'm nailing into now. And I'm kind of going to put a couple there and a couple from this direction to make sure that this joint stays lined up. And we're good, matched up to the bottom here. It's holding in place because it's tight. There we go. And I'm going to go, I know I've got a stud somewhere right about there. And that should hold it in place. So that's how you would take a decorative, or in this case an ornamental molding, and attach it to a staging wall when you don't have a ceiling. Okay, y'all, the ornamental moldings, this is out of the rustic line, are up. The whole thing, putting this in, the cuts ahead of time and everything, less than an hour, and it really did bring this staging wall to life. You could do this same thing in your living room or in your den. For a rustic line, I mean, that's what they call this line, with the cast iron looking embellishments in it. It actually looks very elegant and nice. I love the way that it turned out. And you definitely, can you see that angle? You definitely can do this too. So I would love to see your projects, and look at the ornamental molding site and look at all the beautiful ones that moldings that they have available, fireplace mantles, the whole ordeal, and let me know which ones you would like to use.